Good morning. Welcome to the Haywood County Board of Commissioners meeting for November 3rd, 2014. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone would please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we feel fortunate to live in a county that offers such scenic beauty, especially at this time of year. Give us, as commissioners, the wisdom and knowledge to make the best decisions for our county's future. Help us to improve the quality of life for all our citizens. Give our country's leaders the ability to inspire hope for our nation. Be with our armed forces. In your name we pray. Amen.
Okay, we'll begin this morning with a call to public hearing for a proposed cell tower in the Lake Junaluska community. Chris Boyd, our planning director, is with us. Chris?
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. I've received an application for a new wireless telecommunication tower. In accordance with the Wireless Telecommunications Ordinance, I'd like to request a public hearing be set on December 15th at 5:30 p.m.
Okay. If there's no objection, then we'll set that public hearing for December 15th at 5:30 p.m. in this room. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay, we'll move to the public comment session. Is there anyone present who would care to address the board? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to constituent concerns. Bill?
I've had some positive comments on the Haywood Convenience Center, so it looks like it's going very smoothly.
Outstanding.
I don't have any.
No? Okay. Okay, we'll move to administrative and agency reports. We have two today. First will be the Haywood County Chamber and Economic Development Council quarterly report. We have C.C. Hips with us, as well as Mark Clasby.
Thank you, and good morning. I don't know if you know, but we can't hear very well.
We know that.
Okay. Well, good morning again. Mark and I are here this morning to give you a quarterly report. It's been 4 months since the EDC and the Haywood Chamber merged. We have used the Memorandum of Understanding, the Exhibits A, B, and C, as our guide and measurement to our accomplishments. As you may have suspected, transitions take time, especially when you're merging two organizations into one. But Mark and I feel and are confident we are making progress, and as our reporting sessions approach, we will have more additional updates and news to report on. Our work has been well thought out, it's been focused, and it's been in sync with the MOU. We have engaged numerous individuals to participate and provide input into the process. This morning you will hear briefly from Mark, Ken, John, Nida, who will give you an update on the areas of business and existing industry, finance, marketing, and I think Mark's on the agenda for later in the program on broadband. But first, I want to provide you with some additional progress that has been made since July 1. The EDC office, of course, we went through a smooth transition. We feel it was smooth. It was very organized. A new phone system was installed to accommodate the extra lines that were needed. A reception was held with a new EDC board. The EDC council began meeting in mid-July. The development of a new strategic plan continued under the new EDC council. As you recall, we started that process earlier with the task force board, but then we decided it was best to let the new EDC board complete that process. Over the month or two that we had started the work, when we got into a session, a lot of things had changed in the community already, so our focus needed to be shifted. So that process is still going on. We hope we have one more meeting and this will be complete. We've actually had two and we're starting our third. The industry clusters have been identified with the Memorandum of Understanding, And the committees that have been formed are Finance, Marketing, Governance, Bylaws, Business and Existing Industry, and of course, Mark's Broadband Committee. The bylaws have been finalized, and we are awaiting approval from the Haywood Chamber Board and the EDC Council. And I'm going to turn it over to the rest of the group. Mark, do you have any comments? Okay, we'll hear from Mark later on. Thank you. Ken?
How are you?
I see CC's got me queued up already. Good morning, I'm Ken Flint. I serve on the Haywood Economic Development Council and the Executive Committee of the Chamber. But I also chair the Chamber's Business and Economic Development Committee, on whose behalf I appear today. Nearly a year ago, anticipating the current EDC Chamber structure, our committee began initiatives to assist in the support of our existing industries. And among other significant things, we established a workforce development group. Our goals there were primarily two things: enhance opportunities for improvement of our workers' skills and build better information on our industry's job needs in Haywood County. I think it's important to mention that our members of that group included executives from major local employers, primarily HVO and Lake Junaluska, leaders from Western Carolina University and Haywood Community College, experts from Region A and NC Works, and of course, Mark Clasby and CC Hips. The survey, which I've given to you, we just designed that. It's just completed. It's for existing companies in Haywood County, and I can tell you it's a result of literally over 100, probably 200 hours, person hours of effort. It's been crafted after some 6 or 7 drafts. That is the final survey. We expect the survey will give the Chamber and the EDC the very closest look ever into the workers, services, and resources support needed to make our businesses more successful and sustainable. So again, I'll give you a couple more seconds to peruse that and try to hit some of the highlights, if I may. There are some 32 questions in the survey. If you go down through the 5 pages of the survey, a number of things mention location on page 2. I think that's important to understand why and how businesses do business in Haywood County. The third, some highlights are sales and profits. On the 4th page, we talk about our supply chain, energy needs, and our suppliers in particular that feed the companies in Haywood County. And then the latter half of page 4, we talk about expansion possibilities and plans for companies. And then finally, on the last page, a good deal of that has to do with employment, recruiting, training, et cetera, which again, our workforce development group is focusing on. So I will leave that to you to see if perhaps you can appreciate that and ask if there are any questions about that.
I don't have any questions. It seems rather comprehensive, though. So.
I'd like to make one comment, just because of my role at WCU and economic development. I happen to see other Chamber of Commerce surveys. I might have mentioned this to Michael. I happen to see the Asheville Chamber's survey that was intended to be similar. Ours is far, far, far better. It really is. Thank you.
Good.
Good morning. I am John Tench. I also serve on the EDC board. I am on the Finance Committee for the EDC. I'm also on the Chamber Board, the Chamber Executive Committee, and I chair the Legislative Committee for the Chamber. I wanted to bring to your attention that we formulated a Finance Committee for the EDC. Julie Davis, of Haywood County Finance Director. Sheila Gahagan, she is our auditor. Richard Terrell, he is our Haywood County Chamber auditor. Bruce Johnson of Champion Supply, myself at Home Trust Bank, Ken Flint, which you just heard from with Western Carolina University, and naturally CC Hips. We meet regularly, and we have formated, with the help of Julie and Sheila and Richard, a good system of checks and balances. We review our P&L and balance sheets with our both boards, and We feel that we're on the road of keeping track of not only the budget, but the MOU as well as gap accounting. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer or let the next one come up.
Go ahead.
Okay, thanks.
Julie, you have any comments?
The only comment I have that when I go to the Finance Committee meetings, they've been very receptive to any suggestions that I might have, and they have had a good plan. I didn't need to give too many suggestions. It was a very good plan.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, John.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'll speak to the marketing strategies that we are implementing for the Economic Development Council. Beginning with the agenda, we'll talk about the new front door, the seasonal e-newsletters, the informational ads in our local newspapers, the new video, the conversational success stories, cluster descriptions, advertising, and press releases. And we'll begin with the new front door, which of course the new front door is every company's new front door, being the website. We are underway to create a very high-end, relevant, innovative site that will attract potential businesses to our county. We'd like for you to see for yourself. We have just a couple of pages from the website. The first is actually the home page, and the photos, we want to depict not only the beautiful surroundings geographically that we have here in Haywood County, but also the fact that we are very open to businesses of all sizes. And if you look at the very top, scrolling across the page, you'll see the headings will include, in addition to the home page, business climate, sites and buildings, the quality of life, resources, about us, and our contact page. This slide is one of the slides that if you would click on business climate that you would actually see. We have the selected employers, which is part of the overall statistics that we will place in that area. And we also see that we've got a photograph, which was brought to my attention, that is actually evergreen, and it says it's Beaver Dam. So just, we were just trying to make sure you were paying attention. No, it was really just a little ubu, but the photographs, of course, are just there for viewing this morning. In addition to underneath the business climate, we will have everything from water, transportation, Tools for Success, which is a specific program for businesses, our 5 clusters, business incentives, our success stories, and the video that I mentioned. Under quality of life, we'll talk about recreation, arts, culture, music, climate, the cost of living calculator, education, shopping, dining, real estate, and our parks. Resources, of course, will have a variety of different links and information so that interested parties may find those resources that will be very helpful to them. The next page is just one of the, again, many slides that are under the business climate, under the statistics. This one is on demographics, where we are just showcasing Haywood County in comparison to North Carolina. And all of these will be printable PDFs so that folks can print those out and share them. More to come, of course, on the website. We'll also launch seasonal e-newsletters, which will focus on the major activities and events of EDC. Our first will be launched in early December with segments on the late summer Western Carolina West luncheon that was held in Charlotte, the fall conference held in mid-October in Asheville, and the Carolina trip to Dallas to visit with specific businesses that is coming up soon. In addition, we want to build the database, so we'll have a subscribe feature on that. We want to contact our local newspapers. We would love to have the opportunity to have a consistent location in each of them, shown on a bi-monthly basis on the first Wednesday. The purpose is to inform not only our community, but of course of the events and activities that the EDC is doing. And secondly, we'll develop that same message as a press release, putting it on the website, and we'll have it in a printable PDF. Next is a new video. Currently, there is a video out on site. It is a bit outdated, so we want to update that. That will be probably showcased in the spring. And topics would include the business climate, transportation, water, quality of life, our statistics, in addition to taxes, workforce, our 5 clusters, and of course, much more. One of the other things that we want to do is to identify some of our success stories, particularly from a standpoint of talking about the collaboration among government, chamber, the EDC, and our various partners. Some of those that we're attempting right now to make appointments with to talk about being featured include Sunburst Trout, Evergreen, and Sunoco. The clusters of focus, which came out of the strategic plan from the EDC task force, we want to focus on those and showcase those 5, which include manufacturing, healthcare, small business entrepreneurship, tourism, and agriculture. We'll place highlights on each of these on the website. They'll be featured in our upcoming e-newsletters, the informative newspaper ads, print, collateral material, and of course the video. We want to explore opportunities in different venues outside of our market to advertise, such as magazines, newspapers, digital marketing, and periodicals. We want to identify and profile those 5 clusters that we mentioned, determine the geographic locations for many of those, and then look to see what would be the appropriate message in order to attract them to our area. And press releases. We want to make sure that we are providing press releases along with a variety of photos to, again, showcase the activities and the events and the tasks that the EDC is accomplishing. So press release will be created for various placements, not only to inform our community, but beyond. At this upcoming board meeting in November, our board and the executive committee will be photographed, released for publication, and placed on our website. So in summary of the marketing and communication, EDC is on the move in a very positive and exciting marketing fashion. We've set the bar high with our expectations to market and to communicate effectively and efficiently. Certainly more to come. Any questions?
Very well done. Bear in mind the access to the government channel that we have. And
yes.
we will be very cooperative, obviously, with that if,
wonderful, thank you.
If there's a need and a use.
Good.
Okay.
And I'll turn it back over to Cece. Oh, I'm sorry.
What is the site? How do you, I mean, do you go to Haywood County, do you go to Haywood Chamber of Commerce?
Right now, it's in what we call our sandbox. It's still in development,
okay.
But
right.
You will be able to access it directly, or you'll be able to come through the website, either one, the chamber website.
You come through the chamber website?
You may. You'll
Okay.
have 2 ways of getting to the site.
Okay, independently and through the chamber?
That is correct.
Is there a way, or is it even desirable to link it, to have a link through Haywood County's government website?
That would be fabulous.
Okay. I think that's something we should explore.
Sure.
Sure.
We'll make a note of that. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Cece?
They did a great job, but just in summary, our next steps for our next reporting session will be that we will determine the executive committee. We'll have the survey results and determine some strategies with that survey, and our website hopefully will be unveiled at that time, along with our newsletter, our cluster materials available for Mark to use for marketing, the video, and also we want to identify some potential businesses that Haywood County would be a good fit for. And the final thing is start the process of implementing and planning for a capital campaign. Thank you.
Cece, have you sent the survey? It's out already? It's been
It'll go out this week.
Okay.
Yeah, it's ready to go. We have to send it out.
All right.
Okay, anything else from the chamber?
I'd like to make a comment. As the commissioner representative to the Economic Development Council and still serving as chairman, I want to thank you all for the time and the effort and the energy that you've put into the new structure that we're trying to do. I've been at every meeting and watched all this come to fruition and everything, and I can tell you there's a lot of interest and a lot of enthusiasm about it, and I really appreciate that and trying to help us make Haywood County better. And also I want to thank Mark Clasby for his work and his efforts. He had to come from one structure into a new structure, and I really appreciate him doing what he's doing to continue to work for Haywood County. Thank you.
Yeah, there's quite apparent that the energy level has increased, and a lot of that is due to just involving more people and more organizations and getting some fresh thoughts. So my thanks as well. Okay, anything else from the board? Okay. Thank you. We'll move then to the Haywood County Tourism Development Authority year-end report. We have Lynn Collins with us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Don't you just love it when we jump right from leaf season into snow season?
Yeah.
We don't have any lull time there. I wanted to go over with you a year-end report and show you where we are in the current year. So, starting with the economic impact report, domestic tourism in Haywood County generated an economic impact of $155.38 million in 2013, and this is a 4.54% increase from 2012. In 2013, Haywood County ranked 27th in travel impact among North Carolina's 100 counties. I will tell you that we had previously been 31st, so that's a sizable jump for us, and we hope to continue moving forward. More than 1,600 jobs in Haywood County were directly attributable to travel and tourism. That number is also up from the 1,300 level. And travel generated a $31.48 million payroll in 2013. The next slide is probably the most important slide in the presentation. State and local tax revenues from travel to Haywood County amounted to $14.11 million, and this represents a $236.39 tax savings to each county resident. By having tourism in Haywood County, that saves on each resident's taxes annually. So that's a very important number. This is a year-end report on the 3% occupancy tax collections. As you know, we break it out by 3% and 1%. The 3% comes directly back to the TDA for the purpose of marketing the county as a destination overall, and the remaining 1% goes back to the zip code community where it's collected so that they can use that money to market their own community. As you can see from this report, we finished the year end at 7% ahead of budget and 2% ahead of the 12-13 budget year. The next is the year-end 1% occupancy tax collections, and this breaks it down by the zip code communities. And on the bottom of the sheet, you can see the percentage that they finished compared to budget, and then you can also see the percentage that each zip code area contributes to the occupancy tax. Those figures hold pretty steady, with Maggie contributing 56%, Waynesville 31%, Canton 7%, Lake Junaluska 5%, and this year was the first time that Clyde actually got on the map with 1%. So we're thrilled about that. You will see that large number comparison year to date under Clyde at 462%. Obviously, those numbers are all relative, but let me explain that, why they have such a large number. A couple of years ago, we hired an auditing firm that specializes in occupancy tax collections out of Charlotte to come in and do a discovery project. We felt like we had a lot of properties here in Haywood County who perhaps were not collecting the occupancy tax, but should be. And consequently, as a result of that discovery process, we found a lot of new accounts. And so in the Clyde area, that takes in that Fines Creek and Crabtree area, and there are a lot of vacation rentals down there that we discovered that we weren't aware of. So that's largely due in part to that. And also, as part of that discovery process and working with our tax collector, we also have collected on some delinquent accounts. So we appreciate all his efforts in helping us with the occupancy tax collections too. The next slide shows the annual expenditures for the Tourism Development Authority, as you can see, marketing is at 50%, administration at 6%. The 1% grants account for 24%, visitor centers 9%, and the 3% grants account for 1% of the funding. On the next slide, you'll see the occupancy tax breakdown by category. We divide the accommodations into these different categories at the bottom of the slide: campgrounds, cabins, cottages, and villas, vacation rentals, hotel motel, country clubs and resorts, and bed and breakfast inns and lodges. As you will see, the hotel motel accounts for the primary source of occupancy, and right behind that is the vacation rentals and cabins, cottages, and villas. So we do that on a month-by-month basis so we can see the trending and see what segment has the largest occupancy each month. Here is the 1% historical data. As you know, the legislation was passed in 2007, adding the additional 1%, and we started collections in January of 2008. And I'm proud to say, both on the 1% and the 3% side, that we are back to 2008 levels of collections with tourism money. So we're thrilled about that. We actually ended up the year a little bit above the 2008 level. So this shows you how the 1% started out in each of the zip code areas and the dips we've had and the gains that we've come back with. And then to end with, just to give you kind of a year-to-date of how we're starting out this year, 2014 is turning out to be a very good tourism year for Haywood County, and we're thrilled about that. We're looking forward to a strong September and October. As you know, the collections run 2 months behind. Hopefully I'll have the September numbers this week. But as you can see right now, we're 9% ahead of budget and 11% ahead of last year. So we're moving up, onward and upward. Any questions?
I'm glad to see that the recovery from 08 is almost complete. Of course, that just brings us back to that level. We still lost the growth that we would generally have had in those interim years, but that's still
and one
very
other,
good.
Just another note about some things that have just happened recently. We've lost some properties in the county, but that has not necessarily been a bad thing because that has driven business to other properties who in turn have been able to raise their room rates a little bit. And also we're seeing them put some of that money back into their properties to upgrade their properties. So that's all been a positive too.
Okay. Any questions of Lynn?
I don't have any questions, but this is a very thorough report, and I appreciate it. And I just want to emphasize how important this is to our county. And not because it just puts people here on a nightly basis or a weekly basis and they come year after year, because a lot of these people, and I'd like to know the percentage, come and they purchase a home here. As a matter of fact, most of the closings that I do, I ask them, how do you know about Haywood County? Why did you choose to be here? And they said, we've been coming here for years. We've been visiting, and so we decided to buy something. And so once they buy something, that creates an economic impact for a lot of people. And then sometimes, they decide to build or purchase a lot, and that helps the contractors, that helps the suppliers. So it's really important to keep this up. Some people say don't concentrate so much on tourism. Well, it's not just the tourism, it's what comes out of the tourism that's important. And so I'm glad to see that the numbers are increasing.
Well, and that's what we always say. Economic development and relocation, it all starts with a visit.
Mm-hmm. I can't tell you how many times, just to reiterate what Kirk's saying, that be doing work for someone and I say, how did you come to Haywood County? It's because somebody, somewhere along the line, they had stayed here and they liked it and they kept coming back and they wanted to live here. And that story is over and over. I hear that a lot. It's always interesting to find out where they come from and what their stories are and everything. So, but tourism, it builds on itself.
It does, no question.
And I want to just talk about the staff a little bit because I am the commissioner representative for the TDA, so I'm there with all the meetings, and we get this every month and all. But Lynn and your staff really are enthusiastic and work very hard to promote Haywood County and get out there and on cutting edge with social media and all kinds of stuff that's going on out there now that I'm not even up on. But and the girls in the office are really into this and trying to improve, the information that's getting out there for Haywood County. So, it's a very enthusiastic group of people we got working for us, enthusiastic in promoting Haywood County. And, I am in the service industry, and I know what having additional people coming into this county, even just for a visit, means to my business. So I want to thank you all for what you do.
Thank you. And just as a closing note, I'd like to say that our board is a volunteer board, and they put in a lot of hours directing and guiding this program, and we appreciate all that they do on our behalf. And they're a very progressive board this year, and we've made a lot of strides forward this year. So we're very appreciative to the board.
I meant to mention them too, because they are all work very hard and take the time and effort to promote not only their business, but to promote tourism as a whole in the county, the whole county, not just a particular area that they may be interested in. So, again, thank you very much for what you all do.
Thank you.
Lynn, one last comment. Two things that impressed me. We ranked 27th in the state. I mean, that's outstanding. And it's over 1,600 jobs.
Yes.
Those people are not having to leave Haywood County to go to other counties for jobs. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Okay, is there any adjustment to the agenda today?
No. I tell you what, I'd like to say that Chamber's report was real good too. I think I might emphasize that, but I appreciate you all coming in. That was a very good report, and it was thorough.
Now, the hard part from a school business is getting those surveys back in. So maybe we can come up with some type of incentive, give them a Tootsie Roll or something if they'll send in their survey.
That's why I was concerned about it, because I thought I had missed it. I said, I'm a Chamber member, and I hadn't seen that. So.
We thank both organizations for your presentations. Very, very insightful. Okay, we'll move to the consent agenda. We've had the opportunity to review the October 20th, 2014 regular meeting minutes. Are there any changes to those? If not, we'll move to Julie Davis for a series of budget amendments.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I have a few budget amendments for you. The first one is the Health and Human Services Agency. This is some additional funding from the Communicable Disease Branch of the North Carolina Public Health, and it's for patient education materials. It also is able to be used for ERRN training, and that is Enhanced Role Registered Nurse Training.
Okay.
And the next budget amendment is a JCPC. This is Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. This is an additional $50,000, which is a large amount of money that has been dedicated for multi-systemic therapy for Western area youth. You might remember that JCPC funding for youth runs through the county, and we usually have a 20% match that you approve each year. This particular program does not require a match, but we are putting in the budget. It's a new program this year, and we do have a representative here if you have any questions about this particular program. But it is $50,000 going through the county.
Okay. Any questions of Julie?
June, don't be bashful.
Okay.
All right, the next one is a grant project ordinance. This is $2,694,827. You'll remember this from last meeting. The Emergency 911 office has received a wonderful grant to enhance our EOC office. And in order to sign the pre-audit, I had to have a budget. We actually don't have final numbers. This is a preliminary budget. This is broken down according to allocations, the way the grant application read. As soon as we have an architect, we're going to have better numbers, and I'll be bringing an amendment back to you. But I wanted to go ahead and get a budget ordinance set up. So this is somewhat the spread of this $2.6 million.
Any questions there?
I just appreciate the sheriff getting this.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
A lot of money is well needed too.
Yeah, it'll definitely improve
Our 911 services.
yeah. Yep. It really will.
Okay. Next up is the application to the Public School Building Capital Fund of North Carolina. Lottery proceeds for debt service for the Pisgah High School renovation project. Julie?
And this is on the consent agenda because this is budgeted each year. You all had approved to pay for the debt service for the $1.7 million for the Pisgah High School renovation with lottery proceeds. This is the application for the current year portion of that debt service.
Okay. Any questions there? Any questions or comments on the consent agenda? If not, would entertain a motion that the consent agenda as presented be approved.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you. It's unanimous. Okay, we'll move to old business. Back on September 2nd of 2014, our board approved fees for the seasonal influenza vaccine at $34 for the shot and $36 for the flu mist. I had reviewed the video, and it really wasn't clear if that action would carry us through the rest of this flu season or not. So out of an abundance of caution, wanted to bring this back before the board so that we could reaffirm that the action we took on September 2nd was in fact to set the rate for the entire season and not just the flu clinic itself. Is that stated fairly, Ira?
Yes, we're back before you with the fee set of $34 and $36.
Okay. Okay. So any questions on that? Okay. All right. Hearing none, then would entertain a motion that the action taken on September 2nd, 2014, setting the flu clinic price of $34 and $36 actually is the fee that will be for the entire season.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, we'll move to new business. We have a request for use of loan contingency for the community college on the Sawmill Drive improvement project. We have Breck Lanning with us.
Chairman, Commissioners, good morning. On behalf of Haywood Community College, I'd like to request approval to utilize the HCC Creative Arts Building and other community college projects loan contingency in the amount of $28,100 for alternate one of that contract, which includes purchase of street trees, shrubs, and ground cover, as well as installation of those items. This work will be the finalizing element of the project. The base bid contract included all infrastructure, curbs, gutters, drainage, new paving, and subgrade. This work will be the final element to take place. Therefore, in the event that we do have any unforeseen change orders, we can terminate this alternate before that work takes place if we needed to request utilization for an unforeseen change order due to insufficient subgrade. Our Board of Trustees has reviewed and approved this request at the previous month's meeting, and they were agreed to go forward with this in efforts to finalize this project.
Okay. How much money is left in the contingency item?
Well, it was $44,000. After this one, it's going to be $15,995, a little bit left.
Okay. Julie, we've had a couple of these, or maybe more than a couple of these over time. Explain how this works for those who might be interested in, as far as using the contingency after a project is finished and what it can be used for.
That's an an excellent thing to talk about because it is a little bit different for this particular project. In this loan project, typically what happens when the county borrows money for any project, the project that is funded is the only thing that can be funded. The projects that have been brought to use some of the additional money have been directly related to that crafts building project, especially the area around it that was damaged.
Right, it was due to construction activity that kind of deteriorated that road.
Some parking areas and all that type of thing. What needs to happen is the bank as well as our bond attorneys have to agree that it is directly related, and they have in all of the cases that the community college has brought back to us.
Okay. And if there's money left over and there's no other related projects that qualify, then what happens to the remainder of the money?
There probably will be some remaining money. That money has to go to debt service, so it will help to cover the debt service for these projects.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any questions of Breck or Julie, or any comments? If not, would entertain a motion that the loan contingency in the amount of $28,100 for completion of the Sawmill Drive improvement project as presented be approved.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. And then we'll move to Julie for the budget amendment.
This budget amendment does exactly what was requested by Breck. It moves $28,100 from the loan contingency for the project that he described and increases that budget line item.
Okay, if there's no questions, would entertain a motion that the budget amendment as presented be approved.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move next to our broadband initiative and community survey that has been referenced earlier in the EDC presentation. We again have Mark Clasby. Mark?
Good morning. The Haywood Broadband Initiative Committee started meeting this past August to determine how to bring higher speed, reliable, and affordable broadband service to the underserved and unserved people and areas here in Haywood County. The committee was composed of a number of people, Commissioner Swanger, Commissioner Sorrells, Mayor DeSimone, Jim Blythe from Maggie Valley, Marcy O'Neill from Waynesville, County Manager Ira Dove, representative from Canton, David Teague, Public Information Officer for the county, Keith Conover from the Department of Commerce Broadband Department, and Joy Webb from the county IT department, who's been an invaluable source, and myself. We formed a smaller working group from that large group to look at specific issues related to broadband access, such as ordinances, possible equipment co-locations, pros and cons of wireless and fiber as well. Our next step is to do a community survey to get public input on broadband needs here in our county. My presence here today is to announce the survey, another survey that's going on. We've got a lot of surveys, which will be available on the county's website through Joy's efforts, and also a brochure which I put on your desk there. This is the kind of the final draft we've received late Friday afternoon, and we're going to make a couple small changes, and then it will be available. The purpose of the brochure, one, is to explain what we're doing, but also there are a lot of people here in the county that do not have access to internet, and so by distributing this, hopefully in our libraries and some other areas around town, as you'll see in the middle, the survey is printed there, and then we will collect those and then enter that data into the county's website, which is also very important. That's going to be our major collector of the data, is the county website that Joy has put together. And on the back, you'll see we've even included a QR code for your smartphone, et cetera. I'm very excited about this. I think this is something that we've been working on for a long time, many years, and I think we've made some real progress already. And the purpose of this data is to collect this, and then, we'll create a map. And then from that map, we will show that to various providers, wireless and hardwire, around, that are interested, and show them we have the demand, and hopefully we'll be able to improve higher speeds, which is broadband, also for people who, whether you're in Crabtree or Caruso or Fines Creek, with access to better service and better needs. So this is a great effort, and we have a lot of people to thank. I think it'll probably take about 2 months to collect this. I'm hoping we'll make our final corrections to this brochure. But Tina Mussarelli did a fantastic job, as always. She's my coordinator for the Buy Haywood program as well. And as I said, we'll probably hopefully in this week or next week, release it to the county website to start collecting that. We'll get this distributed around the county and take about 2 months. So I'm estimating probably middle of January, thereabouts, that we'll finish the survey, and then we'll have meetings with the various providers that are interested, and we'll go from there. But I think we're making great progress.
Can we use the schools
I'm sorry?
Can we use the school system to send these home with children, or is that something that's allowable?
I don't know how many we would, well, I guess we probably need about 9,000 or 10,000 if we did that. I'll look into that.
7,000.
7,000, okay.
You might want to touch base with Ann Garrett and see if they would cooperate with us. That'd be
Okay, I will.
another good way.
We're also going to do the community college too.
Yeah.
I mean, make it available for those who do not have access, so.
Yeah, a lot of people confuse access to the internet as having internet service. You can get dial-up. I mean, that's technically you have access to the internet. You don't have decent access, and you don't have access that would allow you to conduct business or something from your home, for example. So speed is critical to this whole venture. I'd like to recognize Ron DeSimone. Ron and I have talked about this with Kevin and Michael and others, but Ron was the catalyst that put together this group to get us to the point we're at, did a lot of research on his own, and so I'd like to thank Ron for your efforts. Appreciate it. Okay, anything else on this?
I just want to mention that, if anybody's out there, this is really, really important that we get this out, because we're trying to find as much information or to get back so we can go back to these providers. And it is about not having access, but it's also about improving access. And the 4 years I've served as commissioner, and along with the EDC, being on EDC, this has always been a big, big topic about needing to improve broadband in Haywood County. This committee that started meeting, and thanks to Ron DeSimone and Jim Blythe and a couple other people that got this thing started, we've really made a lot of progress in the last 4 or 5 months. I mean, more progress than we've made in 4 years. We're really moving on this thing. So please, if this is really important that we get as much information out of this as possible. You can contact us. We know how to get to it, or but if you see this, please participate.
Thank you.
Exactly. Okay. Anything else for Mark? Okay. We don't need any action on that. Just as an update, which we will have periodically as we move forward with this. Okay, next is revision of adoption fee standards at the Haywood County Animal Shelter. We have Jean Hazard with us and Connie Hewitt.
Hi, I'm Connie Hewitt, and I'm a member of the Shelter Advisory Committee, and we're just trying to simplify the adoption fee procedures. You've all had your handouts, and one of the main concerns was especially dealing with cats. There are many people that like dogs, adopt dogs. Sarge pulls them, they go up north. Cats it's not the same thing. So we're trying to make it as reasonable as possible, and for the last couple of years, Sarge has been subsidizing the adoption fees on all the cats. But it doesn't make much sense to have a cat that comes in that's already fixed, ready to walk out the door, and it's $47.50 where you can adopt one for $27.50. And that's the main concern and procedure for this. And also, rather than $27.50, $37.50 for males and females, which is the Sarge fee, they've been subsidizing that from the regular ones for the vets, just $32.50 so you don't have to decide between male is cheaper than a female. Any questions?
Any questions? Anybody?
On your chart, you're talking about the females, and the females are $87.50, and then the subsidy after current charge, Sarge subsidy, $37.50.
Sarge pays, the adoption fee is $37.50, and Sarge pays the $50 if they go to the local vets. Sarge pays the $50 difference.
Okay.
And Gina's been very good about handling the accounting on this, but it does get cats adopted. $87.50 for a female cat is a little bit hard for most people to take. In fact, sometimes they have problems with $37.50.
Sure. Yeah. How many, I don't know if you have an exact number, of cats go unadopted?
They go unadopted. Up until recently, it's been very high, probably somewhere in about a 60 percentile of everything for cats brought in had the potential of being euthanized. That number is high, mainly a lot because of the feral cats here in the county, and we have thousands of those.
And there's not much you can do about those animals, are there, as far as adoptions go?
On the ferals, no, sir.
But the things have been improving with Sarge pulling animals, pulling cats and getting them adopted on their own. And with Haywood spay neuters, right now at $10 special, we're seeing a lot of people with cats coming in. And we're trying to get the message across that cats can get pregnant at 4 months. And a lot of people don't understand that they need to spay or neuter by 4 months. And that's a continuing education process.
Okay.
So many
Yes.
We kind of stunned.
You form
Seen some around your office, I think.
Yeah, I do. I've got cats in my hall.
This has been an ongoing thing that we have discussed back and forth for 2 or 3 months. And the advisory committee that I have, they're phenomenal. This is a group of currently professional people that are working and those that are retired. A lot of time and expense of time going through to discuss this to make sure what's best for the animal, what we can provide to get these animals out the front door versus the back. And it's made a tremendous impact now with what they've been spending. And Sarge has spent tens and thousands of dollars in subsidizing these animal adoptions.
I think we need to take a look at the whole facilities issue with the animal shelter and so forth as time goes on this fall, maybe start of the new year. You take a look at that.
Thank you all for what you do and keeping everything as much under control as possible, and then trying to get these animals back out into homes. That's commendable.
Mm-hmm. It is. Okay, if there's no further questions, then would entertain a motion that the revision of the adoption fee standards at the Haywood County Animal Shelter be approved as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have Jim Presley, our EMS director, seeking approval of a commitment letter of matching grant funds for Viper radios. And I'll point out that our sheriff is here as well. Jim.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. For several years now, the state of North Carolina has been working pretty diligently and quite honestly has spent a considerable amount of money statewide on emergency services interoperability capability. It's a mouthful. But to make a long story short, during the last 5 years, we have seen some towers and repeaters for this statewide radio system come to Haywood County. We have one functional right now on Chambers Mountain, and there's a couple more that are going to be coming up, one down in the gorge to cover the west end of the county, and then maybe one down on the south end of the county at some point in time. Essentially, without having to stand here or waste your time, we're pretty segregated right now in our ability to communicate in Haywood County from one emergency service to the other. I'm glad the sheriff's here. Right now, we function on a VHF system for law enforcement, a UHF system for fire, rescue, and EMS. And Jean, who was here a while ago from Animal Control, she's on a UHF system. But unfortunately, we're all on different channels. In the last 3 to 5 years, we have started to access some grant money, non-matching. EMS was the benefactor of some grant money to put 5 of these Viper mobile radios in transport ambulances. This year, the state of North Carolina has given us some grant funding to put mobile radios in the rest of our transport ambulances. But thus far, other agencies like law enforcement and handheld radio communication has sort of been excluded from all of those grant opportunities. The information that you have before you is for an AFG grant, Assistance to Firefighter grant, which quite honestly what we're hoping to do at the county level, I know for EMS and the Sheriff's Office, we're hoping to piggyback on that and go with the fire departments to get the remainder of those Viper resources that we need, so that when, case in point, this past Friday night, we had a wreck inside the tunnel down on Interstate 40. So we had Highway Patrol down there on one radio channel. We had IMAP down there on another radio channel. EMS was on another radio channel. The Sheriff's Office was coming that way on another radio channel, and the fire departments were on another radio channel. And it just creates a lot of problems when emergency service agencies need to communicate to each other. With this system in place, we could have all went to a common channel and everybody could have talked across disciplines, which is pretty strange for around here because we typically don't have the capability of doing that. But to make a long story short, the paperwork's in your packet. If approved, we have the opportunity to get probably about $320,000 worth of radio equipment in Haywood County at a 12% match, which for us would be around $36,000 out of the county's budgets. Questions, and I'll answer them as best as I can with the understanding that I'm not a radio expert.
Any questions of Jim? And said the sheriff is here as well.
It makes sense to be on the same channel.
It does. Yeah.
I witnessed 2 or 3, probably 2 Friday nights ago, EMS and operation down at Pisgah, and I was very impressed. The guy is alive today because of your services.
Yes, he is.
Matter of fact, he listened to the ball game this past Friday night.
Outstanding.
Jim, if I understood too, these Viper radios enhance our ability to communicate because of our mountain region and stuff like that. We have some spots.
It's partly that. If you talk to, we're hoping that the enhancements that are going to be made through the grant for 911 consolidation and the new equipment that we're going to get there, along with hopefully getting some money for this Viper project, is going to help all that. We do indeed have some areas of the county where communications is quite poor, honestly. And we're hoping between what's going to happen with the 911 center and what we're going to be able to do with Vipers that we're going to minimize the amount of area of the county where when we push a button, we simply can't talk to anybody.
Right.
I would think that the public in general would probably, would think that y'all are on one channel.
That's very possible.
But I guess what I'm saying is that's what we're moving to do, is for all emergency services to be able to communicate on one channel. I think that's
yes, and it would be a designated channel. And the other thing, not that it's so applicable here, but it certainly is when we start requesting state resources. through emergency management. Greg Shupin has played a very, very active part in this in the infancy of the Viper project here in Haywood County. But anytime we have to involve outside the county agencies coming in here to provide mutual aid, doesn't really matter whether they're coming from Raleigh or just coming from one county over, that interoperability with this system is still there.
Jim, would the SROs be on the same channel?
They could be, yes, sir.
That would really make a difference.
Once we get the equipment, we have enough IDs, which you go through the state and they issue IDs for the amount of users you can have based on the number of radio units you have. That's pretty much up to us to get however many of those IDs we want. So honestly, the sheriff's office or EMS, we could have an ID and a user ability for every one of these radios that we could get our hands on financially. We could put it to good use somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's important to realize too that based on our geography, this is going to take years to find all of the dead spots, the hollows, that just you can't get a frequency into, and there'll be as we move forward, there'll be the necessity of locating repeaters at various places. So we need to be constantly on the lookout for grants for that kind of thing.
Yes, sir. And this is essentially one leg of that.
Right. Okay. Any other questions or comments? If not, would entertain a motion that the commitment letter of matching grant funds for the Viper radios and overall multi-agency improvement of communications as set forth by Mr. Presley be approved.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good day.
Thank you. All right, the sixth item of new business is a request to approve a letter of support for the Land of Sky and the Southwestern Commission to acquire an Economic Development Administration grant. Ira, are you going to present that?
Yes. The Southwestern Commission and the Land of Sky have requested our support in getting a grant. The hope for this grant is to put together a research park that has multiple locations throughout western North Carolina. The research park locations, one of them would be at Western Carolina University, the other at the Center for Global Resilience in Asheville, Biltmore Park, and Blue Ridge Tech. The focus is to try and bring more advanced manufacturing, life sciences, and climate data services to Western North Carolina through this collaboration on multiple campuses and across 2 economic regions. They have asked for our letter of support so that they can try and get this grant and put together this, what they're calling the WNC Innovation Park, a strong science-based research park for 21st century companies.
Okay. Any questions of Ira? If not, would entertain a motion that the letter of support for the Land of Sky be approved and that I be authorized to sign it on behalf of the county.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you. And we'll stay with Ira for items 7 and 8. We'll begin with the Clyde Planning Board, ETJ. Ira.
We have just one applicant for the Clyde Planning Board, ETJ, and that is Marcus Gutierrez. He is employed by the DOT, 34-year resident of the county.
Okay. If there are no objection, then would entertain a motion that Mr. Gutierrez be appointed to the Clyde Planning Board, ETJ.
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. It's unanimous. Okay, Ira, for Canton Planning Board's ETJ?
Yes, we received word from Canton. It's 3 different areas of Canton ETJ that they are requesting appointments in. They're requesting that Jimmy Flynn be appointed for the Pigeon River ETJ community, that Kenny Holland cover the Rough Creek community. And I'm going to do my best for the Buncombe Rough Creek community. I believe it's Hanny Murter. But
Okay, any questions here? If not, would entertain a motion that Jimmy Flynn, Kenny Holland, and Hannah Merter be appointed to the Canton Planning Board, ETJ.
So move.
Chris May, okay. Yeah, and Chris May, okay. All right, that motion is, Bill, second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you. Okay. Any other business? If not, would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you.